Before we go into the video proper, with regards to the state of Foodie Beauty's hijab in this recording, if you notice from the photograph, she has white face paint smeared on the sides of her hijab. And you might also notice that it is also tucked and rolled under her chin and round the sides of her face, much more snugly than usual, suggesting that some of the material has been pushed in further than it should go. And the cap on the top is also covering a significant amount of the front of the hijab, hiding the face paint from the video that was recorded 2 days ago on Halloween.
So good. I don't usually eat the both. I just sometimes have like a whole one.
This, dear viewer, we know is a falsehood. And for informational purposes, that bread is called Aish Baladi. Baladi bread. You're welcome.
You can even drink the vegetable juice.
I'm going to ignore the fact that Foodie had actually put her chin in her rice and now has some stuck to her face, and just address the fact that yes, you could drink the vegetable juice. You could also bathe in it or put it in the freezer and turn it into a popsicle. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And in all my years of living in the Middle East, I have not once seen somebody drink the juice that was left behind in a salad.
It's so good. I hope you had a good Halloween. Now, I want to kind of just clarify about being Muslim and celebrating Halloween. I'm not celebrating Halloween in a worship sense. I'm not worshiping the devil or anything for that matter other than Allah. It's just a fun thing for me.
Halloween in itself is a bastardization of an ancient Celtic pagan celebration that was the most significant of 4 quarterly fire festivals that took place at the midpoint between the fall equinox and the winter solstice. Samhain was a mandatory celebration that lasted 3 days and 3 nights, and basically was in celebration of the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter. It was basically a celebration of rebirth and death, and had absolutely nothing to do with Satan. In much of Europe and most of North America, observance of Halloween is largely non-religious. But the holiday also marks the beginning of All Hallowtide, a 3-day Christian triduum dedicated to the remembering of the dead that begins with Halloween, October 31st, and is followed by All Saints' Day, November 1st, and All Souls' Day, November 2nd.
Actually, I mostly did it for the fun of my viewers, you know?
Yeah, I totally did it for you lot, and not for anybody else, because I didn't want to do it actually, but I'd spoken about it so much in Thailand, and then I really bigged it up when I was here as well, that I thought, fuck, I'm going to have to do something now. And then I thought, I know, well, I was going to eat lots of food anyway because I'd already explained that this was actually the best day of the year for me, basically because I associate it with getting candy as a kid. So if I'm going to eat this crap anyway, I might as well pretend it's a Halloween mukbang by slapping on some really bad face paint. Yeah, that'll work. And you lot should be effing grateful for the amount of effort I put in for you guys.
This is so good.
But F me, I wish it was crispy chicken skins.
Comment below if you're Canadian. What is a Canadian dish?
Spit roasted mukbanger? What now follows was a good chunk of time of Foodie talking about food that she has eaten. And it occurred to me, when you watch Foodie's content, from the past, obviously. I can't see into the future. Well, I can, sort of, but it's a bit morbid. Foodie talks about one of two things, and one of two things only. Food and men. The broader topic of men usually encounters, or how they wronged her, or things of that nature. And that's a very limited sphere of interest, but very typical, I would say, of Foodie. As of late, however, the most of the conversation is either about food or haters, predominantly female haters. So, do we consider that character development?
I know you're also probably wondering like how I'm doing being back on track.
No, we're not. We're not wondering if you're going to get back on track. Because you see, in order to get back on track, you need to have gotten on track in the first place. So no, we're not wondering if you're going to get back on track, Foodie. We're wondering if you're going to get on the fucking track in the first place.
And I will do an update video.
Oh, goody.
Very shortly. So just be ready for that.
Oh, could you be more specific? Because I've got to make time in my calendar and put it down in my diary and on my phone and in my appointment book so I don't miss it.
As you know, lifestyle changes have many ups and downs.
Yeah, lifestyle changes do have many ups and downs. But how the fuck would you know? Because you haven't made any. For the love of all that is holy, you haven't made any. You're going to say, well, I've stopped eating fast food. No, you fucking haven't stopped eating fast food. You've just stopped paying for food to be delivered to your house so often. You're not eating better. You're just eating different crap. You didn't change your life to become more active. You did a few token things and that was that. You haven't made any lifestyle changes. What the heck are you talking about?
There's times where I just want to like clam up and pack it in when it gets tough.
When things get difficult. When things get difficult. What the are you talking about? I haven't eaten bread in 4 effing years because I developed a gluten allergy, and if I eat bread, the pain it causes me ends up sending me to hospital. It feels like an effing heart attack. That's a lifestyle change. That's a lifestyle change I made because of my health. What lifestyle changes have you made because of your health? Getting difficult. Your idea of things getting difficult is slightly smaller portions, or not having takeaway food 3 times a day. Getting difficult. You are such a child.
Because it's hard. Like, there's literally a whole community of people.
Hold on to your hats, guys. We're about to get blamed. All aboard the blame train. Whoop, whoop. Ladies first.
Haters. Like, imagine you're trying to do something really tough to change your life that's already really hard and puts you in a negative mindset a lot of the time that you have to battle. And you have people booing at you, and you have people picking at you when you're at your most vulnerable, or, you know, trying to derail your progress on purpose, or trying to, you know, diminish your progress.
The only people I have seen try to derail you on purpose are some of your subscribers in chat, desperately trying to change the subject to what foods do you like, what foods are you going to eat next. I've never seen a reaction channel trying to get you to eat foods. Additionally, what does it say about your strength of character when you allow the opinions of others to allow you to give you what you think is a legitimate excuse to fail? Nobody, and I mean nobody, can tell you what to do. You are very willingly and happily using haters as an excuse to fail because you don't want to make these changes at all. Only a very weak-willed person with no strength of character would allow these opinions of other people to derail you from your goals.
You know, no matter how small it is to you, it's a big deal to you and other people around you, you know, so you have to ignore that noise.
Yeah, you have to ignore the noise. You know this, so why the F can't you do it?
What I'm trying to say is the internet is a harsh place to display yourself.
Then don't. It's that simple. Don't. You're going to say it's my job and you have every right to be on the internet. True. But the things you don't want to be criticised for, the effort you claim to be making, you don't have to put those on the internet. You could, I don't know, create different content. I'm sorry, but this different content would require some degree of effort and a thought process and some creativity. So, yeah, it might not be ideal, but it's worth a thought.
I like drinking soup.
Yeah, we know. You also like drinking gravy and leftover sauces and the juice from salads. So in the grand scheme of things, drinking soup is the lesser of those evils.
Like weird sleep pattern. Still, I know you're tired of that word. This is like my first meal. And I'm super hungry.
I would argue that you don't actually know what actual hunger feels like. I would argue that if you were hungry, legitimately, genuinely, 100% actually hungry, you would eat whatever was available to you and not be, I am really hungry, but I have to eat this specific thing from this specific place. It was said by a doctor, if you are hungry, eat an apple. If you refuse the apple, then you weren't actually hungry in the first place. You were being greedy. You were wanting food, not needing food.
So going back to the Halloween thing, I don't do it like, you know, as a celebration of like whatever the original meaning of Halloween was, I forget.
A celebration of the end of harvest and the beginning of winter.
I think something pagan, but...
Pagan is a very, very broad name for most spiritual beliefs that are pre-organized religion. So, yes, but specifically Celtic and Gaelic.
I don't think most people know that who celebrate Halloween. I think most people just think of candy and horror movies.
Yeah, there's that too. But in the same way that Christmas has been commercialised, so has Halloween. So yeah, I guess you've made a point.
And costumes.
Allegedly, the reason we wear costumes during Halloween was to disguise ourselves from the spirits so that they would assume that we were them and not bother us. However, the Celts and the Gaelic Druids, who celebrated Samhain, would wear the skins and heads of animals in the belief that they were taking on the strength of those animals. So it may have started sort of there in a weird way.
It's a meal that doesn't make me feel like crap after.
It's a meal I've actually eaten on occasion, although not the entire thing, and usually shared. And speaking from personal experience, it would put me into some sort of weird food coma. So that says a lot. Right, I looked this up because I was curious. Egyptian rice is basically basmati rice, vermicelli, bird's tongues, oil, usually ghee, for frying and toasting the rice, and salt. So one actual serving is 160 calories. Judging by the platter that Foodie is eating from, that's a good 4 servings of 160, 320, 640 calories for the rice alone.
Muslims don't celebrate Halloween, and you're right. Technically, we're not supposed to. I think it's the intention behind it.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. No, honestly, genuinely. Your intention was to make money.
If you look at I get judged very hard for being Muslim.
I'm going to use my words very carefully. You, Foodie Beauty, do not get judged for being a Muslim. You, Foodie Beauty, get judged for A, being an extremely poor representation of what a Muslim should be, or B, more skeptics would say, you're being judged for pretending to be a Muslim.
And not being a good Muslim.
You said it.
For things I do or say.
Yes, for things you do and say that go against the teachings of the Quran. Not just any random shit.
And the judgment is a bit weird for me.
Because you assumed that the moment you took the veil, everything you had ever done, ever, would be forgotten and forgiven, and everything you do afterwards wasn't nearly so bad because you were veiled and you had reverted, and therefore we had to judge you in a different way. Does that sound about right?
It's just no matter what religion you follow.
Don't do it, girl. don't go there.
There are rules about minding your tongue and talking about other people,
which you don't follow. You expect us to give you that respect when you don't do it yourself? Seriously? Oh, and all squeaky then.
if you're Jewish. In the scriptures, it talks about minding your tongue when talking about other people. Christianity, love thy neighbor, treat others how you want to be treated, turn the other cheek. There's all kinds.
Treat others how you want to be treated. I'd argue we are treating you how you treat others. Not how you want to be treated, but there again, you're not treating other people in the same manner that you want to be treated. Do you ever listen to yourself speak? Ever? Is there any thought process that goes on before the words actually come out of your mouth?
Only Islam.
No, it's not only Islam. All religions, all people who claim to follow these religions would be judged under the same lens. If you claim to follow a certain faith, but every indicator of your behaviour, your character, what you say and what you do suggests you're not doing your due diligence in practicing this faith, it will be pointed out. So, it's not the faith people are targeting, Chantal. It's the person claiming to practice said faith, Chantal. Not the faith. We are criticising you as an individual who happens to be Muslim. It's not a criticism of being a Muslim or Islam in general. It's a criticism of an individual who claims to follow that particular faith. If you claimed to be a Pastafarian, we would criticise you if you didn't stick to the teachings of Pastafarians. Right, it's editing Fat Cow and Pebbles, making biscuits on my boob. Let's put it this way, Foodie. If you claim you were a vegan and then caught eating meat, you could not say that us criticising you eating meat was a target against all vegans. No, it's a target against someone claiming to be a vegan who is eating meat. And isn't she pretty? You're lovely, aren't you, my darling? Again, we are not criticising Islam. We are criticising an individual who claims to be Islamic. Individual, not religion.
You know, that has these rules.
Are you seriously suggesting we follow the rules of your faith, or faith in general, when you don't? Seriously? I actually don't know where to proceed with this.
But I find Muslims are held to a standard that other religions are not.
In your experience, Muslims are held to a different standard because you claim to be Muslim. If you were Jewish, you would find that Judaism is held to a different standard because it's you. The same with Christianity. If you claim to be Christian, Christianity would be held to a different standard because it's you. What's the common denominator? It's you. When you had no faith whatsoever, you were the one that was being held to a different standard because it's you, Foodie. It's you. It's not the religion. It's you. I practiced Islam for 6 years and not once was my faith judged. Not once. What does that say to you? The criticisms you received are based on the fact that you are a fundamentally unlikable person who is selfish, narcissistic, self-serving, ill-mannered, and quite basically an extremely poor example of what a human being should be. Remove the faith from the arguments that are presented to you and every point still stands. You are unpleasant and unlikable, and this is why you're criticised, not because of your so-called faith that you claim to practice. I figured, given how the video ended, some bonus pebbles would be greatly appreciated. Isn't that right, sweetheart? Oh, you're so lovely. Yeah. Pebbles is 6. She is my eldest cat. And she's very sticky.